Why you keep chasing things that don't matter. Stop chasing more. Part 1. What if the life you've been chasing isn't actually the life you want? What if you've been running for years, but you never stop to ask where you're going? You want more money, a better house, a better car, a better body, a better job, more followers, more recognition, more success. And every time you get something you've wanted, you feel good. For a moment. Then the feeling disappears, and suddenly, you need something else. Another promotion, another purchase, another goal, another achievement, another number to reach. So you keep moving. You keep working. You keep comparing. You keep telling yourself that the next thing will finally make you feel complete. Imagine a man named Michael. At 25, Michael wanted to make his first $100,000. He did. Then he wanted $1 million. He reached it. Then he wanted a bigger house. Then a luxury car. Then a more impressive job. Then recognition. Then financial freedom. From the outside, Michael looked incredibly successful. But one night, sitting alone in his expensive home, he realized something. He couldn't remember the last time he felt genuinely satisfied. Everything he had once dreamed about had become normal, and everything he didn't have had become important. That is the trap. You achieve something. Your brain adapts. The excitement fades. Then desire creates a new target, and the cycle begins again. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. They knew that a person who constantly needs more can never truly feel rich. Because wealth isn't only about what you possess. It is also about what you believe you need. Welcome to Timeless Quotes TV. If you enjoy Stoicism, psychology, philosophy, and timeless ideas for living a more meaningful life, consider subscribing and joining us on this journey. Because today we're asking a difficult question. Why do we keep chasing things that don't matter? And what would happen if we finally stopped? Part 2. The human mind is remarkably good at turning enough into not enough. You buy the phone you wanted. A few months later, another model appears. You buy the house. Then you notice someone has a bigger one. You get the promotion. Then you discover someone else earns more. You reach your fitness goal. Then you find another person who looks better. You gain followers. Then you compare yourself with someone who has millions. There is always another mountain. Psychology calls part of this phenomenon hedonic adaptation. We become accustomed to positive changes. What once felt extraordinary eventually becomes ordinary. And once something becomes ordinary, we start searching for another source of excitement. This is why achievement alone rarely creates lasting satisfaction. The achievement changes, but the pattern remains. More. 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 And modern society has learned how to monetize this desire. Advertising doesn't simply sell products. It sells dissatisfaction. It tells you that your clothes aren't good enough. Your car isn't good enough. Your body isn't good enough. Your house isn't good enough. Your lifestyle isn't good enough. Then it offers you a solution. Buy something. Upgrade something. Become someone else. Social media makes the cycle even stronger. You see someone else's success before breakfast, someone else's vacation, someone else's business, someone else's relationship, someone else's body, someone else's life. And without realizing it, You begin measuring your life against people you don't even know. The result is strange. You can have more than previous generations could imagine, and still feel poor. Not because you have nothing, but because your attention is constantly being redirected toward what you don't have. The Stoics offered a different question. Not, how can I get more? But, how little do I actually need to live well? That question changes everything. Part 3. The first timeless lesson is this. Define what enough means before the world defines it for you. If you don't decide what enough means, there will always be another number, another purchase, another achievement, another status symbol. Enough is not something the market can calculate for you. It is a decision about what kind of life you actually want. The second lesson is that desire needs direction. Desire itself isn't evil. Ambition isn't evil. Wanting to improve isn't evil. The problem begins when desire becomes automatic. When you no longer choose what you want. You simply want whatever you are shown. A disciplined person doesn't eliminate desire. They decide which desires deserve their energy. The third lesson is that status is a dangerous substitute for meaning. You can spend your entire life trying to impress people who aren't thinking about you. The bigger house, the expensive watch, the impressive title, the perfect photograph, the number of followers. None of these things can answer the deeper question. What is your life actually for? The fourth lesson is that attention is more valuable than possessions. Whatever receives your attention receives your life. If your attention is constantly consumed by comparison, advertising, notifications, and other people's opinions, then your life is being spent on things you may not even value. You don't just spend money. You spend attention. You spend time. You spend energy. And those are the resources you can never get back. The fifth lesson is perhaps the most important. A meaningful life is not necessarily a bigger life. It is a more intentional life. You don't need more experiences. You may need deeper experiences. You don't need more relationships. You may need more meaningful relationships. You don't need more possessions. You may need to appreciate what you already possess. The goal isn't to have the most. The goal is to know what matters and have the courage to ignore what doesn't. Part 4. Now think about what is happening in the age of AI. Artificial intelligence can help us create more, work faster, analyze faster, communicate faster, build businesses faster, generate content faster, make decisions faster. The possibilities are enormous, but there is a hidden danger. Technology can make us extremely efficient at pursuing things that don't matter. You can use AI to produce more content, even when you don't know why you're producing it. You can automate your business, and then spend every waking hour managing the business you automated. You can optimize your schedule until there is no room left to live. Efficiency is not the same as meaning. AI may eventually help humanity accomplish more than ever before, but that creates an even more important question. More of what? More money? More information? More entertainment? More productivity? More consumption? More distraction? If we don't define what matters, technology will simply accelerate the chase. And social media algorithms already understand this. They know that attention is valuable. They know that novelty keeps you scrolling. They know that comparison keeps you engaged. They know that desire keeps you looking for the next thing. Your attention has become an economic asset. Everyone wants it. Advertisers want it. Platforms want it. Creators want it. Businesses want it. AI systems want to predict it. So protecting your attention is no longer just a productivity habit. It is an act of personal freedom. Marcus Aurelius understood the importance of guarding the mind. The modern world simply gives us more things trying to enter it. In the age of infinite information, knowing what to ignore may become more valuable than knowing what to consume. Part 5. So how do you stop chasing things that don't matter? Start with one uncomfortable exercise. Write down the things you are currently chasing. Money, status, recognition, possessions, followers, career success, physical appearance, approval. Then ask yourself, if I achieve this tomorrow, what would actually change about the quality of my life? Be honest. Maybe the answer is something meaningful. Maybe it isn't. Second, imagine losing the thing you're chasing, not to create fear, but to discover its real value. If you lost the promotion, would you still know who you are? If you lost the money, would your relationships remain? If your followers disappeared, would your work still matter? If nobody applauded you, would you still do it? These questions reveal whether you are pursuing meaning or approval. Third, create a personal definition of success, not society's definition, yours. Maybe success means having enough money to control your time. Maybe it means raising healthy children. Maybe it means building something useful. Maybe it means freedom. Maybe it means peace. There is no universal answer, but there should be your answer. Fourth, practice wanting less. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Buy fewer things. Spend less time comparing. Take walks without your phone. Have meals without screens. Spend time doing something that produces no status at all. At first, it may feel boring. That's the point. You are teaching your mind that it doesn't need constant stimulation to feel alive. And finally, learn to appreciate ordinary moments. A quiet morning. A conversation. A meal. A walk. A child's laugh. A friend calling you. The feeling of being alive without needing to prove anything. Because sometimes, the life you are desperately trying to upgrade is already good enough to be lived. Part 6. If I wanted to stop chasing more, I would use a few simple tools. First, a personal enough list. Write down what enough means for money, possessions, work, social media, and success. Second, keep a weekly attention audit. Ask yourself, where did my attention go this week? How much went toward things I value? How much went toward comparison, entertainment, or meaningless scrolling? Your calendar shows where your time went. Your attention shows what your life actually became. Third, create a digital boundary. You don't have to disappear from technology. You simply need to stop allowing every notification to become an invitation. If I were building this habit today, I would use simple tools such as screen time tracking, website blockers, a physical notebook, and a distraction-free reading app. And if AI is part of your daily life, Use it as a thinking partner rather than another source of endless productivity. Ask AI to help you clarify your priorities. Challenge your assumptions. Organize your goals. But don't let it decide what your life should value. And return to the Stoics. Read Marcus Aurelius. Read Epictetus. Read Seneca. Their message is surprisingly simple. You don't need everything. You need to know what deserves your life. Because your most valuable possession isn't your house. It isn't your bank account. It isn't your career. It is the limited amount of time and attention you have left. Part 7. Let's return to Michael. He spent years chasing more money, more recognition, more possessions, more achievement. Then one evening, he looked around his house and realized something painful. He had spent years building a life that looked impressive, but he wasn't sure it felt meaningful. So he began simplifying, not because he hated success, but because he finally understood the difference between success and significance. He kept his business. He kept his goals. He kept his ambition. But he stopped allowing them to define his worth. He spent more time with people he loved. He stopped checking his phone during dinner. He stopped buying things simply because other people had them. He started taking long walks without needing to turn them into content. And slowly, something changed. He didn't become less ambitious. He became more selective about what deserved his ambition. That may be the real meaning of freedom. Not having everything you want, but no longer needing everything you want. So ask yourself tonight, what am I chasing right now? And if I finally caught it, would it actually make my life better? Maybe the answer is yes. Then pursue it intentionally. But if the answer is no, have the courage to stop. Because every time you say yes to something meaningless, you are quietly saying no to something that may matter more. Your time is limited. Your attention is limited. Your energy is limited. Don't spend all three proving something to people who aren't living your life. Tell us in the comments. What is one thing you stopped chasing that made your life better? Your answer might give someone else permission to let go. If this video gave you a new perspective, subscribe to Timeless Quotes TV. Here, we explore Stoicism, psychology, self-mastery, inner peace, and timeless wisdom for living a meaningful life in a world constantly telling us to want more. And in the next episode, we'll explore another problem that affects almost everyone: why your mind never rests. Because once you stop chasing everything, you may finally notice how much noise has been living inside your mind. Until then, don't confuse more with better. Don't confuse attention with importance. And don't spend your life climbing a ladder, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. Sometimes the greatest upgrade isn't getting more. It's finally realizing you already have enough.